Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So remember in one of my previous mental health videos I mentioned that I was going to get deeper into each mental disorder category. So in this video I'm going to go deeper into a specific mental disorder category, and that category is anxiety disorders. So I'm gonna mention the symptoms and then, well, just like an explanation of the specific disorder and then symptoms and treatment. So I wanted to make this video for quite a few reasons, because one, I wanted people to realize that there's a huge difference between anxiety disorders and the emotion anxiety. Two, I wanted people to hear and realize how debilitating an anxiety disorder can be. And three, I thought it would make things clearer for people who need clarity in terms of what they are going through, since anxiety disorders are among the most common mental illnesses. Before I continue, I just want to make sure you properly know the difference between the emotion anxiety and an anxiety disorder. Now, everyone experiences anxiety from time to time. It's a completely normal emotion, just like anger, sadness or shock. The emotion anxiety can sometimes be helpful because it can warn you if you're in a dangerous situation, informing you to be vigilant in your environment, like flight or flee. With an anxiety disorder though, you experience intense excessive anxiety, which also comes with some other debilitating symptoms, which I'm going to mention. The 5 key differences between an anxiety disorder and the emotion anxiety is the stresses. So that's first one, the stresses. Usually you will experience the emotion anxiety due to stress, or like an exam coming up, or a job interview, or fight with your significant other. Whereas when you are experiencing an anxiety disorder, you are anxious nearly all the time, and sometimes it's literally not triggered by anything at all. Like people with generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, they will get excessive anxiety over small responsibilities. And now the second thing is intensity and length. The emotion anxiety will not always be as intense and prolonged as an anxiety disorder. You might be on edge and worried about your exam the day before, but people with anxiety disorders get anxious about it weeks before and overthink the whole entire thing, and experience certain symptoms before and / during the exam. Also, with an anxiety disorder, your anxiety will be disproportionate to the stressor. The third thing is other symptoms. With an anxiety disorder, you don't only worry or feel anxious, but you also get physical symptoms like feeling nauseous, having chest pain, getting diarrhea, being unable to breathe properly, feeling lightheaded, feeling detached, etc. Sometimes people with anxiety disorders can't seem to think straight because of their overthinking, and their mind is literally all over the place and it's clouded with anxiety. The fourth thing is impairment. When you're experiencing an anxiety disorder, it affects your everyday life. It impairs or interferes with your schoolwork, job and daily life. A symptom that most people with anxiety disorders have is avoidance. In other words, the anxiety can cause you to avoid normal activities. You might skip class, miss a test, stop going to work, procrastinate grocery shopping, or avoid anything that makes you anxious and fearful. And 5, the last thing is also the most important one. It is the excessive anxiety. The not being able to breathe properly, feeling like the walls are closing in on you, hyperventilating because of a specific phobia or something that makes you anxious, etc. So now that I have given you a bit of background on the differences between anxiety disorders and the emotion anxiety, I want to go deeper into each anxiety disorder and give you the symptoms of each one. There are 7 main different anxiety disorders, but for time, because of time, I made everything a bit too long, and that's not a bad thing because I'm giving you a lot of information, but I can't put it all in one video. So I'm gonna make part 1 of this video and then a part 2. So in the part 1, so there's 7 of them, so in the part 1 I'm gonna speak about generalized anxiety disorder, agoraphobia, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, social phobia, also known as social anxiety, and specific phobias or simple phobias. So yeah, those are the 4 that I'm gonna get into in this video, and then I'm gonna get into the other 3 in the second video. So the other 3 are OCD, PTSD, and panic disorder. So yeah, generalized anxiety disorder, also known as GAD, is an anxiety disorder that makes people get excessive anxiety about literally anything. They never get a break from worry, even if they try so hard. They never get a break from their lives. Sometimes though, it can be so hectic for a few days or weeks, and then it settles to average, and then it gets high again. It's kind of like a cycle. They experience unease that they have to carry with them and continue on with their daily lives and activities. GAD is not a direct response to a specific situation or experience. The symptoms of GAD are as follows. You feel very worried about a number of events or activities. You find it hard to stop worrying. You find that your anxiety makes it difficult for you to do everyday activities, for example, work, studying, seeing friends and family. You have trouble concentrating at times because of how anxious you are. You overthink so much, you waste your time, and it exhausts you. You get physical symptoms that are associated with anxiety from the specific disorder, like chest pain, stomach pain, have an increased heart rate, feeling like the walls are closing in, feeling nauseous, trembling, and experiencing diarrhea. That's one of the most main things that most people with GAD experience, but it can also be common in all the other anxiety disorders. You have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. You get easily irritable. And yeah, so those are all the symptoms. Now I'm going to get into agoraphobia. So agoraphobia is an anxiety disorder that manifests as a fear of situations where an escape could be difficult, or in which help would not be available if something bad were to happen. Agoraphobia may involve a fear of crowds, bridges, or of being outside alone. Symptoms are fear and avoidance of places and situations that might cause feelings of panic or a panic attack, entrapment, helplessness or embarrassment, along with the physical symptoms associated with generalized anxiety disorder, the ones that I mentioned. Next is social anxiety. I'm literally just going through them. Social anxiety. So social anxiety can also be called social phobia. That's its main word, but it's commonly called social anxiety. So yeah, in social anxiety, everyday interactions cause significant anxiety, fear, self-consciousness, and embarrassment because you fear being scrutinized or judged by others. The fear and anxiety that comes from social anxiety ends up disrupting someone's everyday life. The symptoms are as follows. Fear of situations in which you may be judged, worrying about embarrassing or humiliating yourself, intense fear of interacting or talking with strangers, fear that others will notice that you look anxious, fear of physical symptoms that may cause you embarrassment, such as blushing, sweating, trembling, panic attacks, or having a shaky voice, and avoiding doing things or speaking to people out of fear of embarrassment, avoiding situations where you might be the center of attention. That makes most people with social anxiety very anxious. They don't like being the center of attention. Having anxiety in anticipation of a feared activity or event. Enduring a social situation with intense fear or anxiety. So you'll be very anxious during a social situation. Spending time after a social situation analyzing your performance and identifying the flaws in your interactions. Expecting the worst possible consequences from a negative experience during a social situation. Feeling an impending panic attack because of how anxious and fearful being in social situations makes you. And yeah, so in order for you to have social anxiety, these symptoms, although not all of them, have to be persistent. And yeah, so the same goes for all the other anxiety disorders. Now, specific/simple phobias. Specific phobias are an overwhelming and irrational fear of objects or situations that pose no threat at all, and complete avoidance. And no threat at all and little danger but provoke anxiety and complete avoidance. The fear is irrational because it is out of proportion to the actual risk at times. Examples of irrational fears of certain things, objects or situations would be fear of dogs, closed-in places, heights, escalators, tunnels, highway driving, spiders, highway driving, water, flying, and injuries involving blood. They can even be put into categories like situations such as airplanes, enclosed spaces, as I had mentioned, or going to school. Nature, such as thunderstorms or heights. Animals or insects, such as lions or spiders. Blood, injection or injury, such as needles, accidents, or medical procedures. And others such as choking, vomiting, loud noises, or clowns. Each specific phobia someone has is referred to by its own term, so they all have individual names. Examples will be common terms like acrophobia, which is for the fear of heights, and claustrophobia for the fear of confined spaces. Specific phobias are among the most common anxiety disorders, and not all phobias need treatment. But if a specific phobia affects your daily life, several therapies are available that can help you work through and overcome your fears, sometimes permanently. No matter what specific phobia you may have, it is likely to produce these reactions. An immediate feeling of intense fear, anxiety, and panic when exposed to or even thinking about the source of your fear. Awareness that your fears are irrational or exaggerated by feeling powerless to even control them. Worsening anxiety as the situation or object gets closer to you in time or proximity. Doing everything possible to avoid the object or situation or enduring it with intense anxiety or fear. Difficulty functioning normally because of your fear. Physical reactions and sensations including sweating, rapid heartbeat, tight chest, or difficulty breathing. Feeling nauseous, dizzy, or fainting around blood or injuries. And in children, these symptoms can also be present. Tantrums, clinging, crying, or refusing to leave a parent's side or approach their fear. So yeah, I've done 4 of the anxiety disorders, 4 out of 7, and I am going to continue the rest in the next video. So yeah, if you like this video, and yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of me or more mental health content, please subscribe to my channel. And if you think that someone needs to see this video, or you think it will be helpful for someone else, then please share it by all means. And yeah, tell me if you learned anything new. And yeah,